On the 7th practice of training camp in honor of John Elway, number 7, Bo Nix had arguably his best practice of camp so far. Let's rewind and tell you why it was that good. Bo Nix started unbelievable. His very first pass, he was flushed out of the pocket, running to the right side, hits Marvin Mims on the sideline. Excellent pass, so much zip. Marvin catches it, gets both feet inbounds, and then the ball was ripped out by Alex Singleton. So Bo did everything he could, probably an incomplete pass, but Bo did everything he could for that to be a completion. Then he hits Josh Reynolds down the field for about 10 or 15 yards with Pat Surtain in coverage. Impressive by Bo. And then he just continues to not have a pass hit the ground. Also finds Josh Reynolds. It puts a ball right over Jaquan McMillan's head. It was a great ball placement. Josh Reynolds catches it at the very top, just over Jaquan's head. He gets his feet in, out of bounds for about 10 or 15 yard gain as well. So we're starting to see Bo Nix push the ball down the field. And the big thing, we're starting to see Bo Nix be comfortable in the pocket. Many times today he threw from in the pocket or stepping up in the pocket. He did scramble a little bit too, but we're finally seeing him settle down. And Sean Payton likes the progress he's seeing from Bo.
Look, I thought overall, I'm sure there's going to be some plays we look at that it was mostly third down. A lot of the work was third down, but yeah, I mean, we'll see the tape and evaluate it. But I thought overall pretty well. I mean, you know, there are plays where you're going to look at and correct, and then there's others where you're going to say, hey. But I do have to watch the film because I'm looking at so much. And he ran with the ones, and I like his progress.
You heard me mention Josh Reynolds' name a couple of times already, and that's because he stole the show out here at training camp. In fact, Sean Payton was asked about the quarterbacks, and he said, no, I'm just going to talk about Josh Reynolds because he was so good today. He had those 2 catches from Bo Nix, but then he had the play of the day. Arguably, he might have had like the 3 best plays of the day, but the number one was from Zach Wilson, final team period. Zach Wilson just throws it up in Josh Reynolds' direction, running down the left side, 20-25 yards down the field. Levi Wallace in great coverage. Could have had an interception. No, Josh Reynolds was not having that. He mossed him, takes the ball away from him, gets his feet inbounds, and don't sleep on Josh Reynolds. He's an outside-in player, meaning he can play outside and inside, but Sean says he's mostly going to play on the outside. Keep your eyes on number 11. He's kind of a guy that's got swept under the rug with some storylines. Of course, Cortland Sutton. Broncos also have Marvin Mims. But Josh Reynolds is a guy that's not only making plays out here, but Sean Payton is a big fan of.
It was real good. You know, he's a tough player. He's got range. You know, you saw today there were a number of 50-50 balls that he ended up with. And we had a good, clear vision for him. And I'm glad we have him.
And the first major injury of camp happened today when Quinn Bailey, the Broncos' 6th offensive lineman, went down in a brutal injury. You could tell right away from his reaction and also his teammates' reaction. Sean Payton reported after camp that he fractured his ankle immediately. The cart came out to Quinn on the field. They put him in an air cast. He wasn't able to put any pressure on his leg as they put him on the cart. And instead of going inside the Broncos facility, they drove him straight to the ambulance. And wishing the best for Quinn because this is a big blow for the Broncos.
Looks like he fractured his ankle. That was definitely apparent. And, you know, I'm not sure of the timeline relative to surgery, but that's always tough to see and to be a part of when you're at a practice. And it's one of the sometimes the bitter realities of our game. So he was having a real good camp.